This is a Perplexity API wrapper that I just built using only Perplexity. So this is just like any regular chatbot. I can interact with it and it will answer the question based on its training model. And also it can answer question based on the information on the internet because it is being powered by the Sonar model from Perplexity, which has access to the internet and it is very good at doing some research. Now, I'm going to ask a question like, what is the latest news about Apple today? And I can send this message and it will come back with the response from a summary of a lot of pages on the internet. So this is a real answer from AI and it is being powered by the Sonar model that was made by Perplexity. And the best part is that I can build this kind of tool, this kind of AI wrapper without any coding knowledge. I don't have to write any line of code because Perplexity can do it for you. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can build this kind of tool using only Perplexity. And there are some really useful features like you can bring your own API key, you can select the Sonar model that you prefer, and of course you can customize the system prompt. So I would imagine that this tool would be useful within an organization, or maybe you want to showcase your application, or maybe you want to help people using Perplexity API. Then you can build this tool with Perplexity and the user can bring their own API key. Okay, now the first thing that you need to do is that you have to visit Perplexity, and I'm going to show you the prompt that will create this application. It will generate all the necessary codes for building this AI wrapper. All right, I'm going to copy the prompt, and don't worry about that because I'm going to put all the prompt in the video description or video comment so you can copy and paste, and there is no need to manually type this long prompt. But I think it is important for me to explain every single line of this prompt so you will know why I'm using this prompt and what area that maybe you can customize or improve. All right, the first line is generate an AI chatbot powered by Perplexity API. I just want to set up the premise that this is going to be a tool that is relying on Perplexity API, and then use only HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I want to make the tool as simple as possible, and I think these three combinations are usually the most popular, the most reliable, and a lot easier to learn. And then the tool features a modern chatbot interface. Okay, the user can use their own Perplexity Sonar API key. I actually have showed that before. In this setting, you can select or insert your own API and select all the settings. Okay, let's go back again. And the user can select their own Sonar model, which is Sonar, sonar-pro, sonar-reasoning, sonar-reasoning-pro, and then sonar-deep-research. This is actually based on the documentation from Perplexity. You can go to this website, docs.perplexity.ai, and then you can click guides, and in the supported models, you can see all the models that are available right now. Technically, there is another model from DeepSeek, which is R11776, which I have explained on my previous video that this model is an uncensored version of DeepSeek R1, so it has no censorship from the Chinese government. It's going to be a lot better, but this doesn't have access to the internet, so that's one thing that you have to keep in mind. But I think the Sonar, sonar-pro, and all the Sonar models are pretty great. Okay, the next thing is the user can modify the system prompt. Of course, the settings are automatically saved locally to the browser. This is actually a nice improvement because we want to make the application as simple as possible, and there is no need to create a user authentication system because it's going to make the whole thing a lot more expensive and difficult to maintain. So instead, if the user has inserted their API key, they can still refresh the page just fine. It will reset everything, but the setting will remain. So they don't have to put their API key or the system prompt manually. And then next, the AI response is stream. This is actually just a behavior of AI. So if I ask something like, "Hi, how are you?" it is going to send the message one line at a time or one word at a time. It is called stream in AI. So you can see the progression of the answer from AI. And I think that's pretty common and that's really nice. And then the AI response is in Markdown format, render it properly. most AI these days are using the Markdown format, so it makes sense to use this prompt to tell AI to produce a code that can render the Markdown response from AI. And then add animations to enhance interactions. This is absolutely optional, but I think it is always nice to have some nice animation on the web. And then provide error handling. This is very important because we want to know if there is something wrong. We want to know the cause of the problem. So maybe if you forgot to insert the API key, then it will tell you, hey, you forgot to insert the API key, and you will know that how to solve the problem. And then give me the full code, tell me the name of each file, and then if I ask for modifications, always return the full code. I don't want to get just half code or just a few lines of code. I want to get the full code so I don't have to manually find the area or find the code that I have to change or replace. And then lastly, give me the HTML first, then CSS, and then JavaScript code later. I intentionally used this prompt because on my previous testings, if you ask AI to produce all the codes in one response, usually the code is going to have a lot of problems, and also sometimes AI wasn't able to produce all the codes in one go because a code can be very long. And that's why it's always a good idea to get one code at a time. So one code for in the first response, and then CSS in the second response, and then JavaScript in the third response. And this is basically all the prompt for creating the AI wrapper. Now I'm going to select the Pro mode, and then for the model, you can use either GPT 4.5, GPT 4o, and Cloud 3.7 Sonnet. I think these three are the best for coding, but I'm gonna go with Cloud 3.7 Sonnet. Okay, and after that, let's click send and just wait until AI is giving me all the code. For the first response, it is going to be HTML. All right, so this is the file index.html. Yeah, Sonar is actually one of the best. Perhaps it is the best at the moment, but some people says that GPT 4.5 is also pretty good. But GPT 4.5 is expensive, and also it is very slow. So, okay, well, this is a problem. It is giving me multiple codes. That's kind of unexpected because on my testing, it is always giving me one code at a time. But if it is giving you this full code, I think it's not really a problem. You can still use it as long as the code is full. But I'm not so sure about that here because the CSS code is very long, and I'm worried that it is going to be beyond the limit of Cloud 3.7 Sonnet. So at the end, the code will be cut off and it's not a full code anymore. That's the behavior that I have observed on Cloud 3.7 Sonnet, but I don't know about that. I'm not sure. Okay, so the JavaScript code wasn't full, and okay, I'm going to copy HTML and CSS first, and then I'm going to ask it for the full JavaScript code. Okay, it's very long. Wow, it's the longest code I have ever seen for CSS. And then I'm going to copy HTML. Let's go to JS editor. You have to go to this website, jseditor.io, and I'm going to remove this existing code. Just paste. So this is HTML, and then let's go back. And this is gonna be the styles.css. Copy, go to CSS. I'm going to remove this first, and just paste the whole code. All right. Now the JavaScript code wasn't fully formed, so I guess I have to ask for a revision. So if you see something like this, like the code is not finished, it usually means it is outside the token limit of the AI model. So I have to ask for the full code on the different response on the follow-up question. Hey, the JavaScript code wasn't full. Can you send to me again? All right, so this is going to be the full code. It's going to be a lot longer than the previous response. All right, Okay, it's a lot quicker. Actually doing some testing using GPT 4.0 and GPT 4.5, and Cloud is actually pretty quick. As you can see, it is a lot longer. Maybe it's even longer than the CSS code. So I would imagine that this is going to have tons of features. And by the way, this tool that I just showed you earlier, this was made using GPT 4.0. So for this tutorial, I'm using a completely different AI model because I'm also curious if Cloud can do something that is a bit better than GPT 4.0. Anyway, the code is complete now, and I'm going to copy this. And then let's go to JS editor again. I'm going to remove this code and paste the new one. Okay, when you're done with all the codes, the HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, you can click run and you should be able to see the application. All right, okay, that's very interesting. It's way more complicated than I expected. So there is this new chat, there is this setting, and wow, that's pretty amazing. Unfortunately, the screen is a bit smaller. Maybe if we can render it in a full browser, we can see all the features, but I want to do some testing first. Now let's go back to Perplexity, and then you have to go to this menu that says settings, and then you have to go to API. So I'm using Perplexity Pro subscription, and it gives me $5 of free API credits. But if you're not using the Pro subscription, you can still buy credits and then you can spend it for Perplexity API for the Sonar model. So I'm going to scroll down here and then click generate. I want to get a new API key. So this is the key and I'm going to copy it. By the way, you have to make sure that this is remain secret. You don't want to share this to anyone. I can share this just one because I'm going to delete this key anyway after I'm recording this video, but you have to use your own code, your own API key. Now for the Perplexity chatbot, if you go to settings, you can enter your API key. You can select the model. I'm going to go with sonar-pro, and the system prompt is very interesting. You can, select any prompt that you want, but I'm gonna go with the system prompt that Perplexity has given in the documentation. If you go to this documentation page and then if you visit the prompt guide, you can see that there is an example of system prompt. You can actually use it, and I think it's going to make the job a lot easier. Now click Save Settings. Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I like the interface of this tool that was made by by Cloud 3.7 Sonnet. Now I'm going to ask something. Hi, what is the latest news from, let's say, Google? Okay, so there are some news here. Couldn't see it properly because the window is very small, but it's okay. Google launches AI-powered scam detection. Yeah, I heard that before. Then Google Calendar removes cultural celebration like Black History Month. Google Maps renamed Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. Okay, so that's basically accurate. That's something that happened, and it is possible because the Sonar model is actually connected to the internet. Now, I think we are done with the testing. We are done with the coding, and we just need to build an application. We just need to put this to the internet like this one. So how do you do it? Well, if you don't want to deal with a lot of not technical things like setting up the server, setting up the database, etc., then this is the easiest way that you can do as a non-programmer or non-coder. And even if you're a programmer, I think this method is still a lot easier than the traditional method of deploying an application. Now, what you need to do is you have to visit a website called netlify.com. This is actually a very popular website among programmers to build and deploy a web application easily, and this is very beginner friendly, and I'm going to guide you the process until you can get your application deployed. You can sign up, and I actually have made my account, but once you sign up, it's going to ask you questions like the general onboarding process, like it's going to ask you what is your organization, what is your location, etc. So there are some questions there, but basically just follow along and answer it based on your current situation. And after that, you can have access to this tool, and then you can deploy your application. All right, now I'm going to deploy the application to Netlify, but before that, there are a few things that we need to do. So in JS editor, what you need to do is you have to click download as zip, and then it will show you this file. I'm going to show you all the files right here. All right, now this is the file. It's called project.zip. There are a few things that we need to do. So let's right click and click extract all. And I guess just click extract. So this is the file, and there are a few things that we need to do. So I do recommend to go to view and then enable file name extensions. So we know that which one is which. So there is app.css. It's not the correct name because according to Perplexity, according to the answer from the AI that we just talked about, the name should be styles.css, and then the HTML would be index.html. And it is very important because if you're putting the wrong name, the application is not going to work. And lastly, I think it's going to be script.js. That's usually the standard naming for JavaScript, but could be something else. Let me see. Well, it doesn't say anything, but it's usually, oh yeah, it's script.js. So I have to rename that because if I don't do that, then the application is not going to work. Now for the CSS, I'm going to rename it to styles.css. And then for app.js, it should be script.js, and index.html is already correct. So now all these files are connected because on each file they're actually referring to other files, and the name is very important. If the name is different, then it's going to fail. So I'm going to recreate the zip file again. I'm going to remove this because it's no longer necessary. And I'm going to use, you can use 7-zip, or you can use the built-in feature, built-in compression feature in Windows. I can use that right here. And let's call this one chatbot. All right, now what you need to do is just upload this file to Netlify. I'm going to click add new site, or you can also just drag and drop the file right here. You can click deploy manually. And I'm going to just drag and drop the file like this one. And just wait until it finishes. It will instantly deploy the application based on all the code that you have provided. And yeah, I think the application has been deployed. It's very, very quick. You can click open production deploy. And this is the website. Of course, you can always change the domain name later. But for now, I'm going to do some testing again because it looks very interesting. I think this tool looks really amazing. So if you go to settings, okay, it's not showing the API key. I'm going to go back to the API setting. And let's copy this. Paste. And of course, I'm going to be using the system prompt. Okay, click Save Settings. And there you go. So this is the interface of Perplexity API wrapper that was built by Perplexity. So we are using Perplexity to build something like Perplexity. Kind of interesting. All right, what is the latest news about SpaceX, for example? All right, so this is the answer. You can see that it's from March 7, 2025. It is new, and yeah, it looks very interesting. It's almost like having a chat with, something like ChatGPT or Gemini or even Perplexity, but this is your own application. You can always save this. You can deploy it somewhere else. You can deploy this application on your website, and I think that's pretty amazing. Now, I want to try using this feature, the new chat. So apparently it is actually saving the chat locally. I don't know about that, but it's very interesting because usually AI, when I ask to code this AI wrapper, it's not going to add too many features, but Cloud 3.7 Sonnet is pretty amazing. It is actually giving me a nice interface like this, and there is a new chat feature. Okay, this one is going to be what is the latest news from Perplexity. I heard that it is just launching the desktop application for Windows. But this is not exactly new. Maybe I need to make the prompt a bit more specific, but it is true that it is about to launch a web browser called Comet. So yeah, it is based on the data from the internet. So I think that's it. That's how you can build a nice user interface AI chatbot wrapper that is being powered by Perplexity API, and you can build this tool using only Perplexity. Again, you can get the API credit by subscribing to the Pro subscription, which only costs you $20 a month, and you will get $5 credit. And you can actually use the link in the video description if you want to get a discount on your first Perplexity Pro subscription. But anyway, I hope you find this video to be useful, and in any case, I wish you a great day ahead. Thank you.